Hi everyone. Investigating large business section. So this is the year 10 first term examination on the business studies 2017 past paper. Here we taken the large business case study as the Apple. Right? If we read the case study, investigating business. Apple is a US technology and technology company specializing in branded devices, iPod, iPads, and iPhones. These brands are well known around the world. And in 2015, Apple was recognized and the most valuable global brand by Interbank and the market research group. Right? In 2016, the revenue from Apple products fell for the first time in over 10 years. To improve the profitability, Apple now intends to focus on its new products, such as the Apple Watch. Following the collection of primary market research, Apple have also improved their social media presence and now provide advice and customer support using Twitter. So this is the investigative large business case study, Apple, right? So the first question is explain question, right? Explain question when you're writing, you don't need to actually talk about the application. Say one. So when you're writing explain question number 9, part A, explain one difference between private limited company and public limited company. Right. In the business formation, we talk about in the large business categories, private limited company, public limited company. The main difference is private limited company owned by friends and family members, like it's a privately owned business, and they cannot sell the shares in the stock exchange. Whereas PLC is not like that. Public limited company, the shares can be traded in the stock exchange. So this one you can explain the one difference. There are many different examples. Private limited company. Organizations can see normally they can't sell debentures, but PLC can sell debentures, right? They can private limited company, difficult to transfer shares, but public limited company they can buy and sell or transfer shares easily. As a result of that, you can see develop it, right? Write the one difference, and then you can elaborate that difference. Example, operation in share market. Private limited companies can't operate in share market, whereas PLCs can operate in share market. So therefore, which leads to the PLCs always they can issue shares to the public, and therefore they will be able to collect more capital for the business organization. Therefore, the volume-wise, the value-wise, more capital can be raised to the PLCs than the private limited companies. Like that, you can explain that. Use 3 sentences, right? One is the difference, and then you can explain, right? So now go to the 9-marker question. The 9-marker question of here, the owners of Apple Incorporation want to expand the business. In order to do this, the owners are considering using the following 2 options: continued as a multinational company and provide franchising license. Right now, in Apple, they are selling their products and everything. Sometimes they are selling and manufacturing. They are normally using now continue their operation as a multinational company. The main mainly Apple campus is there on the Silicon Valley, California, and then they have manufacturing in plants are carried out in all over the world, like Vietnam, China. It's very famous. So now their another option is they are giving franchising license. Like normally they can be a franchisor, and then they can provide the franchisees, like giving the third party. Okay, here the technology you provide, you in your region you manufacture iPhones and sell. So now it's happening continue like a multinational. The phone, everything coming from one USA, and then the assembly done by the China or Vietnam. But when you go for the franchising model, what you can do, you can actually given the organization, manufacturing, the operation, the methods and everything to third parties. Then they can tell them to, okay, you invest in the money and technology, we'll give you the technology, you handle. It's like that. That's a model. So both options are okay. So you have to justify which one is the most suitable method. And when you go to option number 1, continue as a multinational company, then you will be able to talk about the benefits of multinational to companies, 2 benefits of multinational to the company, and 2 drawbacks of being a multinational to the company. Right? We talk about this one. This organization, they have to operate as a multinational. They can continue as a multinational. Therefore, you can talk about this one. You can see my tube number 7, the multinational company. I told you what are the benefits to a business becoming a multinational. Then you being a multinational, you can increase your market share, you can access to global market, and then you can secure a cheaper premises, and labor, right, from different parts of the world. You can avoid tax and trade barriers, and you can say get government grants sometimes, and higher profile is there. These things I have explained in the again, like the multinational level. But if you being a franchisor, right, franchisor, you have these advantages and this disadvantage. If you become a franchisor, it's a fast method of business growth and cheaper method of business growth. Franchises, you can take some of the risk, and franchises are more motivated than the employees. These points you can apply to the Apple. You can see, for example, it's a fast method of growth for the Apple company. As a result of that, they'll be able to increase their manufacturing capacity into another level, able to access to different parts of the world, different regions of the country. However, it's another franchises take some of the risk of the business. For example, when Apple wants to access to the Indian market, then they can actually start that by they're giving a franchising license to another operator called franchisee. So Apple can be able to actually spread the risk, country risk, economic risk, right, social risk, and the cultural risk, right, political risk. They can actually transfer to the franchisee. Therefore, franchisees take some of the business risk. So if the business something happen, the Apple company, they don't have any risk to bear, because most of the employee staff wages, overheads, everything has to be paid by the franchisee, right? However, you can say, especially Apple company, when you're giving the franchise license, sometimes potential profit is shared with the franchisee. Because if you multinational company, if Apple can actually reach the market, the Indian market, for example, they can by themselves, they can go and they can sell like usual right now happening right now. But if that, in that case, for example, if you give the franchise license, potential profits has to be shared with the franchisee. Sometimes poor franchises may damage the brand reputation, and franchises may get merchandise from elsewhere. Cost of supporting franchise may be high, because you have to sometimes you have to give the technology. Then what happened? Your technology business secret will be leaked to the outside. Then Samsung and Huawei, they can actually take the right this kind of like a technology they can find out easily. So that's why normally organizations, they like to keep the grip, like a control and the business secrets and everything with them. That's a franchise business model. You have to have a risk of spreading that. That's why most of the time the fast food franchises are very popular, but we can see very difficult to see technical, like tech franchise businesses, because tech is a secret. High-tech companies, they are not actually normally they are not giving the franchise license to other parties to operate. Sometimes distribution, selling and distribution, franchising license they are giving, like a dealerships they are giving. Okay, the products you can sell in your region. You are the Apple dealer. For example, let's say in Sri Lanka, we can see we have different Apple dealers are there, like Singer, SoftLogic, Abans. So they have Apple dealerships are there. iPhones and iPads, tabs, everything they are selling through their outlets. But manufacturing is difficult, because manufacturing only happen in US and assembling happen in Vietnam or China. Because assembling plants, actually they have given to third parties like Foxconn, like different companies they have given. So these are the main advantages and disadvantages of being a franchise. So in this case, if you pick option number 2, then you must be able to write at least 2 points. In 9 mark, what we expect here, write 2 positives and 2 negatives with application, right? You have to always write the application point, because if you don't write the application, you're losing the half of the mark. Like you have to always talk about the Apples, iPod, iPads, right? Apple company. Use the context always. These are general points, generic point. Then you can use the 2 points, positive points, and 1 paragraph, then 2 negative points in another paragraph. So no definition and no conclusion needed for these answers. Okay, if you speak multinational, what will be happen? If you pick multinational business, for example, if you pick multinational business organization, if you go there, a multinational company, then you have to the benefits of being a multinational to the business organization, and the drawbacks of being a multinational to the business. For example, Apple, right now they're operating as a multinational, because the imports and growth of multinational. Under this chapter, we discuss about this thing. If you become a multinational MNC, you can say option 1, these are the main benefits. Larger customer base. Right, you can have the larger customer base. You can have the iPhone Air 4, for example, they can operate a factory in Australia, so Australian market, Pacific region. And if you operate a factory in Japan, if you operate a factory in China, the Chinese market, Indian market. So like millions of people you can access to the world, larger market base you can access to the multinational way. That's the way right now they are doing, and they can reduce the cost. Economies of scale they have. For example, when you're manufacturing the materials like chips and everything, right? The aluminum and batteries, everything you can bulk production, like economies of scales are there. Purchase bulk items you can purchase. As a result of that, you can actually increase your competitive advantage. So Apple will be able to increase their profit margin as a result of that, because the more discount they can obtain when they purchase all these items at bulk. As a result of that, they can reduce the average cost. Moreover, generating high profile in the media, you can see increase the value of their market. Like New York Stock Exchange, you can see Apple shares are very expensive, so going very well, and prices are going up. And also, it's increased the higher profile, because that means you expand other territories as a multinational company. So you're not giving any license to anyone. You have the full control, right? Not like a franchise business model. Franchise business model, you have to give the employee training, backup support, financial support, marketing support, technical support, software, everything. But here, high-tech companies, it's very risky to do like that, because they are keeping their competitive advantage in US. And avoiding tax barriers, there's another advantage. By operating in some countries, they can have the tax advantage. But here, Apple, you can't apply that, because they are not operating in like a British Virgin Islands, like a low-cost countries, right? Lower taxes we can enjoy sometimes. Some governments actually apply lower taxes when they're operating the multinational in those countries. But last 2 points, I think you cannot apply to the iPhones, Apple company. So because we can apply first 3 points. As being a multinational, two benefits to the business. Moreover, our other side of the answer, because always 9 marker had to pick one option, right? 2 benefits and 2 drawbacks. In 2 drawbacks part, you can see the potential drawbacks to the business. You can say massive cost, right? Have to think local and create a difference in their products to suit the different market. Like we call this ethnocentrism. You have to think about local differences, like cultural differences, right? For example, let's say if McDonald's, they're operating US in the different market, they have beef burgers, everything, right? But when they're operating India, they are not selling beef burgers, because Indian country, normally India, they regard the cow as a god, and then like as a result, a lot of Hindu, they are vegetarians. So as a result, they have like a veg burgers are there. And they call the names are different. Sometimes they call like the Big Macs, and they call Maharajas like that. So they are thinking the local different. But here in the Apple case, you can't apply this disadvantage, because always iPhone is actually unique. Always they are producing for one market, like a global market. So then everyone, wherever it is, India or USA or China or Australia, the phone is same. Similar products, similar features, similar their iOS system they are using, similar technology. They are not adapting to different countries, because it's a high-tech product, right? And moreover, you can see being so seen by the world. They are very, I can see like normally the world, like seen by the world. There's another drawback, because their action can be scrutinized. As a result, you can see that also like being seen by the world, because all of the actions can be scrutinized. Like if something happens, they can, for example, other companies can sue against them. And being a huge responsibility for the business, brings a huge responsibility, because multinational company being operating as a world, like many countries, because you are responsible for many, like a lot of people, their market share, millions of people are purchasing their products. So it's a huge accountability, responsibility, and being accountable for the actions, and getting a bad reputation for doing the wrong things. Another drawbacks with multinational. If something happened, if you remember the case that once there was a Samsung phone was actually exploded. As a result of that, they have to the reputation, bad reputation they have for that, but they have to do the product recall, and they replace with the best devices. But like that kind of situation, even this happened to Toyota, Honda, sometimes vehicles, right? Nissan, sometimes these vehicles, they have product recalls happen so many times. So then as a result of that, they have a time, the huge expenses that have to be borne, because in kind of like a product recall, bad reputation thing, they have to make an actions, sometimes cash refunds or product replacement. And also having to be ethical can be expensive and less profitable, right? And to be ethical can be right normally be ethical and expensive, less profit. You can see apply these case studies of Apple. This one student actually here mentioning the point. Don't there be a SIM career problem? So wouldn't they have to face it? Yeah, correct. That kind of problem there is very good because that's a very good application you can use. Writing drawbacks to like multinationals, like being a multinational, what are the drawbacks? Right, massive cost. Right, sometimes there are some problems are there. Some countries they are not allowing to purchase this thing. Like countries, some different, some technical problems are there. Sometimes they're using some, like as you told you, like a face recognition thing, right? So different apps are there. Sometimes always the companies have a big, huge, competition against the technical industry, right? Because there's always their actions being seen by the world, and their actions can be scrutinized. So mainly, when you're writing this answer, this 9-mark question, right? Always pick one point, either continue as an MNC, either continue as a franchisor. So franchisor business model, you can say the franchisor can easy and fast method of business growth, and the business, the business, the risk of doing business can be transferred to the franchisee, and use the application also Apple in this case. If this happen, iPhone's company has to provide their business secrets, right, to the franchisee. There'll be sometimes there's a huge danger is there because to access their technology, and some backup support has to be provided, employee training, financial support, marketing support to be costed to the Apple. So like that in the last, like you can say small like a ending line, therefore correct to, for example, continue as option one. Option one, advantage outweigh the disadvantages. Therefore, you can summarize the points again you wrote there in the first, and then you can say yes, option one should be suitable. But however, it depends on the Apple CEO, the Tim Cook, or the management. This based on the shareholders' decisions, like that. So this is a 9-mark question. Always the structure of a 9-marker: 2 positives and 2 negatives. 2 positives, 2 negatives. Pick one option, write 2 positives of that option and 2 negatives of that option into paragraphs. Right. So no need to have a definition or a conclusion. Okay. Now we are moving into the next question, the 12-marker question, and the last question of this paper. 10th question, 12-marker. Apple Incorporation is a global multinational corporation. Evaluate the impact of global multinational corporations like Apple on developing countries. Right? Impact of economies, developing country economies. You should use the information provided as well as your own knowledge of business. So in this case, when you're writing a 12-marker, I'll explain the structure of the 12-marker. When you're writing a 12-marker, you can start with the definition. Right? In this case, in our question, so you can talk about what is defined multinational company, MNC. And then you can talk about the 2 advantages. In this case, 2 advantages to the economy. For example, let's say multinational companies, Apple operating in let's say developing country, let's say in India. So what are the 2 advantages to India? I can say if you operate a factory in India, so firstly you can say providing job opportunities, employment opportunities. Opportunities are there. So employment job opportunities are there. And moreover, you can say tax revenue to the government. Pick 2 options, right? Don't write like a point form. You have to write explain this in the paragraph format, right? Tax revenue to the government. Tax revenue to the government. And when you're explaining this one, you can easily say, I'll explain everything. Like, first of all, we'll note down. Make a plan like that, like me. When you're making a 12-mark question, so you can make a plan like that, and you can first of all identify the points that you're going to write, and then you can actually easily expand, and you can use your more words and everything. You can start writing. Disadvantage, you can say firstly they are doing causing environmental pollution. right? They cause the pollution. And then secondly, they actually, they are accusing always, they are exploiting labor. Sometimes they're giving low wages, salaries. Sometimes in China, they is accused by, because like a sweatshops, like these factories, assembling factories are working like sweatshops, like small areas, and then they are working. Sometimes suicide rate of these factories also very high. They have suicide nets. There's a Fox News report is there. So normally they have always this some kind of exploitation. They are always accusing to these things, like giving low wages and to the people, sometimes exploiting. Pollution means environmental damage caused by the multinational and the exploitation of the labor, right? For some countries, some multinational companies, they are sometimes using even child labor also, right? So you have to apply that. And finally, you can try the conclusion, right? In conclusion, it's a paragraph, conclusion para, I have to write down, summarize the point you wrote there. Need a small summary, plus you have to write the solution. Solutions to problem. Solution, for example, you can say the government can, for example, even though there are pollution, environmental pollution can be controlled by the Indian government. Should we try to introduce some acts, right, tighten their environmental law. If they are exploiting labor, you can talk about, yes, the government should be try to protect the workers, employment regulations, right? For example, let's say the government regulation. You can say like that. So when you're writing 12-mark questions, you can talk about these things like, first of all, plan. When you're planning this thing, you can basically, like a small, piece of cake, take a piece of pencil, and then you can actually draw like this, and then, okay, what you're going to writing here, you can say definition, okay, what you have to define, right? Definition, and then talk about, okay, I'm going to write positives. What are the positives I'm going to write? Right, first one, second one, and then what are the negatives I'm going to write? However points, first one and the second one. Like that, you can make some kind of diagram like that, first one, second one, and the conclusion. Right? So you can actually simply like make a small plan your answer before you writing. And even I'm actually suggesting this, proposing this one to 9-mark as well. 9-mark also, you can make some kind of a small diagram like that. What should I going to define? Define here this case MNC, right? Multinational company. What's the definition of multinational company? It's a multinational company's organization which operates in more than 2 countries, with their production and assembling, the merchandising happening in more than 2 countries, a multinational. In this case, Apple is a multinational company, corporation, right, which is like established company and highly branded company in the world. And to advantage the Indian economy, developing countries, by locating in the developing countries, the multinational company can provide the job opportunities to people, Indian people who are working inside the factories. So there will be more direct job, and the indirect jobs can be created as a result of this MNC proposal. So when they're going to the like a country, we call host country and the guest country, right? So then they're hosting to the developing country. As a result of that organization, they can provide the job opportunities to Indian economy, so which will leads to increase the standard of living of the Indian population from the increase in the income level. So direct jobs such as workers, assembly line workers, drivers, logistic managers, so you can mention their names for the working opportunities, and like other indirect job opportunities also you can provide. As a result, this will increase their income level, and as a result, their standard of living can be improved as a result. Moreover, we can talk about another paragraph. By reaching to developing countries, the country government will get the tax revenue. It can be India, it can be China. So from Apple company, they can get more tax revenue to the government. And explain in return what happened. This tax revenue can be used by the government to provide and boost their infrastructure development. So they can use this tax money on education and Indian, the universities development, right? Road infrastructure development, health sector development, right? Energy sector development, different. You can say the tax money you can use for several purposes. So as a result, country development can be expected because of that. is a huge support to the government. Yes, some people actually say commenting, say, yeah, further develop the country. Very good. So you can further develop the country as a result of this tax revenue. So you can elaborate your point. Tax revenue, not only tax revenue, what happened as a result of tax revenue, government income will increase, and government can spend this money on different subjects, as I mentioned, education, hospitals, medicine, and also rural development, infrastructure development, right? Poverty they can reduce in India. So as a result of that, you can say what is the benefit of the tax revenue to the government, and government, how can they utilize it for the well-being of the society. Then you can say, therefore, there are advantages more than this. Actually, you can say more advantages are there for multinational company. So the economy will show you what are the other points you can say, and this is only just a sample. You can see, even you can write these points also, benefits to the country. Look at these points. You can talk about the increase in income, increase in tax revenue, this point. Benefits to the country. Increase in income is possible. As I told you, because of the job opportunities. Increase in tax revenue to the government. So government can use that money in the benefit of the society. Increase in exports, because when the manufacturing take place in India, the output will be exported to other countries like Sri Lanka and Japan and other Asian countries and other European countries. They can export. So country export revenue will increase, mean that as a result of that, country's foreign currency reserves will increase. As economic aspect, export increase is good, because then foreign currency will coming into the country. So as a result, the country's balance of payment, balance of trade will be positive, import and export. So export revenue is really good for the country to increase boost their balance of payment, balance of trade. Right? Because of the export level increasing, the country can get more foreign currency. The Indian government, so they will boost their economic power, the foreign reserves will increase. And other one, transfer of technology. That's another advantage, the benefit to the developing country. Transfer of the company, the Apple iPhone, the technology from high income country to low income country, HICs to LICs. Transferring of technology. Because of that, what happened? Because of this technology transfer, you can say the workers will be, their scope, their employability will increase. They know how to work with these high-tech companies. And then, for example, if you're a software engineer who works in Apple, so you can work in anywhere in the world because you know the main method of working Apple, how to develop the products. So your employability will increase. So your market will increase. As a result of that, the quality of the human capital will increase because we are working with the high-tech companies. So country technology level is really important to increase the productivity of their country. So GDP will increase as a result of that, gross domestic production. So transfer of technology from high-income countries to low-income countries. Developing country will be it's a kind of blessing because of the technology transfer. And improve the quality of human capital. How this happen? Because of the multinational company, by working there, you can get the good income, and that income you can use for your benefit. So you can buy a good car, you can buy a good house, you can send your children to good school, like that. So improve the quality of human capital as a result of this multinational. So these are the indirect benefits to the economy. And finally, enterprise development. Along with the Apple company, we located not only Apple company, then all other auxiliary services will be developed. The transport providers will be improved. The logistic infrastructure, road system will develop. And there are thousands of people who are working in those companies. And then the food suppliers, they need money. So then the food supply, the business hotels will improve, right? And country, I can see accommodation providers, right? Accommodation, there are indirect job. Enterprise development is there. Other suppliers, for example, if they need some kind of energy, if they need some kind of like all that materials, machines, methods, everything, logistics. So enterprise development is there. All other indirect job opportunities created to the country opening up. As a result of that, those people also get some benefits over the Apple company, and those people also, for example, it can be courier company, it can be logistic company, air freight company, right? So different companies might get orders all over the world. As a result of that, especially developing country will be getting all these benefits. So in your answer, you don't need to write everything. So in minimum 2 is enough. Because in a 12-mark question, you have to write like 1.5 page. So start with the definition, and then you can go with the 2 advantages with the economy, right? And then 2 drawbacks. When you talk about when you're talking drawbacks, you can start the point with the however, or on the other hand, right? That's called evaluation. Yeah, right in the other side, you're going to evaluate your points, right? Criticisms, limitations of the multinational to the economy. Environmental damage, as I told you, the pollution taken place by environmental damage is the main drawback from not only Apple, most of the companies I told you, Exxon Valdez oil spill, right? Chernobyl disaster, Bhopal gas disaster happened in India, right? All these disasters I show you what are the examples in the world which cause environmental pollution and damages. You can see the environmental damage of this because of that Indian environment will be the developing country environment, their soil, their air will be polluted, their water will be polluted. So as a result of that, the future can talk about what will happen to the future generation. So country will be short term, they will get the benefit, but future generation, because of the air pollution, people will difficult to breathe. Water pollution, no drinking water will be a problem, right? So there are so many accusations out there. I can talk about a few examples because of the Apple phone, because of the Apple products, what kind of environmental damage it caused for the developing country. If you can't apply, to go to another point. For example, let's say exploitation of less developed countries, like paying low wages. Sometimes this is a very common in manufacturing organization because that's the main reason they are going from developed country to developing country to get the cheap labor. Like this was the main accusation in the Chinese factory, like a Foxconn. They was accusing that they are paying very low wages, minimum wages to their Chinese workers. As a result of that, the organization, because they're always if the salary rate in the US and China, there's a huge gap is there, difference is there. That's why a lot of European countries, the companies, US companies, they attract into these developing countries. I think that the factory of Asia is the China. Now there's another countries coming up. Now they're going to Vietnam to operate their factories. So they're called Vietnam. We call the darling of Asia, because factory of Asia is China. Now from China they move on to Vietnam. Vietnam was another sweatshop, right? And India also like that. They are developing. That's why going to different countries, right? Among the low-cost countries, we have all these countries are there, like Philippines, Sri Lanka, Kenya, Bangladesh, right? Ethiopia, Somalia. So very low-cost countries for multinationals, especially like like cosmetic manufacturers, textile manufacturers, right? So these countries it's like a blessing for them because they can quickly go and they can give their orders to those garment factories. They can produce at very low cost. So exploitation is happening in less developed countries. As a result of that, paying low wages, sometimes they might use the child labor, but I mean, you can apply everything for the Apple, right? Sometimes you can say, as a result of that, Indian people will be sometimes might be get the low wages because for the sake of job opportunities there, but the income wise low salaries. They are working for a small salary, and sometimes tax paid in the host country is minimal. So most of the companies, most of the multinationals, their accusation is the tax manipulations, transfer pricing. They are using some kind of government. They are paying minimum tax to the government, very small tax. They're showing less profit to the government and they pay low tax to the government. Sometimes they pay 4 billion rupees, but they should pay 40 billion. They're paying only 4 billion. They're reducing it because they can do the transfer pricing option because they are the one who control the prices. They are the one who import and they are the one who export. So they can manipulate these things. So I'm not telling that this is actually applicable to Apple because there is you have facts and figures you have to find because we do the accusations. So definitely you can say about the environmental damage caused by them and the exploitation of the countries, like paying low wages in some parts of the countries, developing country. And then mainly you can talk about this one. Fourth one is very, very applicable, repatriation of profit. You know what is repatriation of profit mean? You're sending the profit back to the host country, back to the parent country where the headquarters is located in US. So all the profits they generate through the Sri Lanka, all the profit they generate through the India, they are sending back to the US. This is called the repatriation of the profit. So this will be always multinational company. They are coming to the developing countries because to earn money, because just to open up another profit center. So they're taking all the profit back. That's their nature. So we have to say that. That's why sometimes the management also, top managerial people are coming from other countries. They are not giving these opportunities to locals. Top management, like managing director and director board, they are appointing from the their origin, like US people they are appointing, country heads and all. So they are not giving the opportunities to local people. So that's another disadvantage. Only the middle level and lower level management only they are giving job opportunities for locals, but higher level positions always they are keeping with them the multinational people, the foreign expats are there. So expatriation of profit, repatriation of profit can be expected always from these companies. Like same thing for Nestle, I showed you, I think my previous session, as we talk about Nestle, they are doing this. Unilever, they are doing this. All these Swiss companies, US companies, so they are doing, UK companies, they are doing this practice. These are profit centers. And finally, lack of accountability to the developing country. Lack of accountability because they can do manipulations, accounts cooking and all. But basically, you can easily memorize 2 positives, 2 negatives, which is applicable to Apple in this case study. You can talk about increase the income to the government, job opportunities, and increasing tax revenue. As a result, what happened? In the conclusion level, you have to write a conclusion, how to control. Overall, you can talk about the points again, summarize the points again, right? The multinational company provided opportunities, they give the tax revenue to the government, however, they do pollution and they exploiting labor. But in this case, the government should take a necessary action to control these solutions, must be given by the government to control the pollution. They must strict the environmental law, or they should take the employment strict actions against the multinationals who exploit in their labor, such as charging fines and all. So as a result of that, they can control, and overall, you can say, overall, multinational company will be more advantage, more beneficial to the developing country to increase, in order to increase their economic activities. Therefore, multinational company will be best. Like that, you can conclude the answer with that. So this is the 12 marker question, right? So when you're writing this thing, 12 marker, you can separate one paragraph for the definition, another paragraph for 2 advantages, third paragraph for the 2 disadvantages, and fourth paragraph for the conclusion. So to write like that, we are giving about 2 pages. Like an examination, about 1.5 pages is there. So, and paper is out of 50. Sorry, 80 in this case, the page possible. This one only out of 50 marks. So in your paper, you have a 12 marker question and 9 marker question. 2 case studies like this, small business and the large business questions are there. So today in my lesson, I explain how to write a 9 marker question and how to write a 12 marker question. So case study we discuss is about the Apple large business case study, Apple US technology company. Right. So this is the way that when you're going to writing some paper, you have to make sure use the application always, because in business studies, the always high achievers, how they score marks by writing the application. Because all of you can memorize the points and go, but if you write the generic point in your answers, you are losing 3 marks, like half of the marks you are losing. Always try to convince the answer by writing application. With the case study can be Apple, it can be Mark and Spencer, it can be Toyota, it can be Tata Motors. So you must be able to write some application. Always the points must be related to the context. Context means you can use their word here, 2015, what is the name of their products, product portfolio. They are producing the you can see iPads, iPhones, iPods, these things. So always when you're reading a case study, use a highlighter or underline. And you can go underline that in the examination hall, you can underline it. When you're writing, you can use that underline words. Because always when you do that the application way, always you can use a highlighter, or you can use an underliner, and you can make sure after you read in that thing, you have underlined the important points there. The names of the people, the numbers, years, number of factories, number of employees, the products they manufacture, product portfolio, like that. These are the application points you can use in your answers. So always think like that way. I think then if you follow this instruction, you can easily go for a good grade, right? Okay, that's the end of the large business paper of 2017 November.